So, how can we pour from an empty cup? We can't, right? We need to be filled in order to pour into anybody else in our life. It makes no sense if we invest in everybody else, in our career, even in our children, in relationships. It makes no sense if we pour into those investments if we can't even pour into ourselves first. Because then what do we benefit? And to be honest with you, what do other people really benefit if you don't offer them your best self? It's important that we take some accountability and we look at things for what they are. Sometimes you can be the best worker in the room. Sometimes you can be the best wife. Sometimes you can be the best friend. But who's pouring into you? It's important that you know that that's your responsibility to pour into yourself. It's really important to understand that we can't pour from an empty cup. We need to be filled ourselves first. And somebody I look up to once said this. He's a motivational speaker. And he said, the best thing that you can ever do for anybody in your life is to work on yourself, to be your best self. Because it's not even about, because you're going to change careers. What if you happen to change relationships? What if you happen to change whatever the circumstances that you're in right now? 5 years from now, you might not be in those circumstances anymore. And even if you are, you're still going to need to always invest in yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing anybody any favors. If you are drained, if you are just not filled, you need to invest in yourself. Be your best self always. How do you do that? Start taking some damn time on yourself. If I'm being honest, we work 20 to 40 hours a week on a job sometimes for other people so that they can grow their business. We work on people's lives every single day, and we invest in our friends with their problems. We invest in our relationships. How much time do you actually take to invest in yourself? How much time do you take for self-care, for rest, for creating a hobby or something that can build your business up, or learning a new language? It can be anything. But at the end of the day, you know what you need to work on. You know what you need to work on. And there's things that you want to work on about yourself to maybe better yourself. And that's great. But nobody's ever going to come and tell you, hey, stop, you need to do this. You need to take accountability and say, you know what, dude? I have limited life. Life is not promised tomorrow. And if I have 24 hours in one day, how much am I going to spend pouring into myself? Whether in the morning that's taking the time to pray and talk to God and give God glory, or that's time for you to shower and feel good about yourself. Sometimes only you know what you need. You know, there's going to be a lot of people to tell you A, B, C, D, and F, whatever, A through Z. But you know in your heart what you need. Sometimes I just need some freaking rest. And there's other times I need to get off my butt and I'm like, I got to do this and this and that. So you know deep in your heart what you need to do, but you need to invest in yourself. Whatever that may be. And it doesn't have to be drastic. It can be, you know. But like I say, baby steps are the biggest steps. You need to take the time to invest in yourself. For me, myself, and I, just like a personal testimony, it wasn't until I started eliminating certain people in my life that I was giving all of my time to that I realized, wow, all that time I was giving to other people, I was neglecting myself. And this is not like a pity story. This is actually a glorious story because, you know, I was already asking God to help me in those certain areas. But the thing is that God is going to give us the tools that we need. But we have to open that toolbox, that mental toolbox, and we have to use the tools ourselves, you know? And that's something I tell God, help me to help myself. And sure enough, when I had the time or made the time or God finally gave me that time, I literally was like, you know what? Okay, when you have to face yourself in the mirror, now you can face whatever your fears are. You can face whatever it is that you're trying to work on, your goals. And when you have like 4 hours and you're just sitting there instead of being with other people or giving yourself to all these other things, then you could say, it's time to work on myself. And for me, I honestly, God gave me such a great year that I didn't even have a lot of extra time. to be honest, I had time to focus on what I wanted to do. And for me, a big part of that was walking with God, walking around the park, walking around the streets, walking around everywhere. And that helped me gain mental clarity. And I know it seems so simple, something so simple, but all that time that I spent walking, I was able to focus and gain clarity on what was important in my life. And even though there's a lot of things that are important, not everything is your assignment. Not everything is urgent. You know, things will get by with or without you. So you need to take care of yourself. And during that time that I was able to focus on myself and that God really gave me that time, it was a gift, because time over money. Because I could have been working a job and getting more money, but guess what? I would have still been neglecting who I am deep inside. So God granted me the gift to have time with myself, to work on myself in privacy, with peace, and, you know, even sometimes under pressure, but that was okay. And in that time, I was able to lose 42 pounds, almost, no, like almost 45 pounds actually. I gained 3 pounds recently, but I think that was just muscle mass because I've been working out. But I've lost almost 50 pounds if you think about it. And not only that, but not only did I lose that, I lost all of that extra dead weight, but I gained so much new insight on it's time to invest in yourself. And sometimes you are going to come to an end of yourself, whether you're at work, whether you're with your children, whatever you're doing, and you're going to be like, dang, dude, all that time I spent investing in everything else, and what about me? In the Bible, it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So in reality, you can't love others if you don't love yourself. You must have love for yourself in order to show love to others. I mean, yeah, people show love. Maybe it's not the healthiest version. But when I'm talking about a real healthy love. If I love myself and I want to eat healthy foods, then that means I'm going to give my children healthy foods to eat. And that's how I love them, because I first loved myself. If I want my kids to have a good emotional life, I'm going to first show myself that same love, because how can I give them something that I don't know how to give unless I do it first? So I think it's really important that no matter what we're talking about here, no matter what your goals are, it's really important and it's really serious, because I always love to laugh and play. But right now, this is like a real serious thing. Like, we need to invest in ourselves. Nobody's going to love you enough to tell you to invest in yourself. And if you do have somebody like that in your life, then you're lucky and you're blessed. And to be honest with you, I wish that when I was suffering and going through a lot of things, that people would have called me out on it. And I guess the reason I like to call people out on their stuff, not in a bad way, is because I love them. When you see somebody, it's like when you see a woman in the street and she has lipstick on her teeth, you're going to tell her, because it's like common courtesy. What if that was you, you know? So I'm always like, hey, you know, so you look out for yourself, you know? And so, and to be honest with you, I have a lot of people that love me in my life. I'm so blessed, but not all of them know how to love in a healthy way. And that's okay. But that's where it's my job to learn and to live and move forward. Whatever happened in the past in your life, you can't change it anymore. You can't. I mean, you can go to therapy and get help with it, but at the end of the day, I mean, you can't dwell on the past. You are where you're at right now. And what are you going to do to move forward? Are you going to use the tools in your toolbox to keep, it's like having being stranded with a broken tire. But if you have the tools there, are you going to try to help yourself? Or are you just going to wait for somebody to save you? It's not, you have to be accountable, because even if somebody stops to help you, you want to flag them down, right? Or you want to be a part of the solution. And being part of that is investing in yourself. So whatever that, I mean, I could tell you, read a book, freaking learn a hobby. You can do all those things. But honestly, take the time to even think. How much time do you focus on your personal development? How much time do you focus on you being the best version of yourself? We can always be upgraded. We're like freaking iPhones, even better, because we're God's creation. So it's just funny because, you know, there's always so many iPhones. But anyways, you can always upgrade yourself to be better. And you can be content where you're at in life, and that's fine. But any true living being knows we're meant to evolve. We're meant to grow and get better and get better and get better. And you can want to get better with still being content with who you are right now. But if you know what you need to work on, I would suggest that no matter what's in your way, I don't care. Oh, I have work, I have this, I have that. I don't care. Pump the brakes. You need to work on yourself, because it's like somebody saying they're like freaking like super unhealthy, and then they get a heart attack one day, and they're like, damn, dude, if I would have stopped 5 years ago, these choices, maybe I would have lived a little bit longer. And I know for people, they have different circumstances, different situations, but if you need help, ask God for help. Ask people for help. Ask people to hold you accountable. I mean, I tell my kids all the time, you better hold me accountable, because when I want to eat them chips, I want them chips. So you better like hold me back. You better hold me back. So ultimately, I think this video is really, really about holding yourself accountable. And if you know that you have a problem with something, like for me, I had a problem with eating freaking sweet food. I was always, or McDonald's. McDonald's was like literally one of my, it's so embarrassing to say, but I was at McDonald's every freaking day, getting the Frappuccinos, getting the freaking double cheeseburgers, McDoubles, whatever. And to be honest with you, I mean, thank you, God, thank you, Jesus, that He helped me break that addiction. But I begged God for help. And He brought people, resources, things in my light that made me kind of like not want those things anymore. Like I would randomly see videos and I was like, dude, oh, that's disgusting. Oh my God, McDonald's does that with their food. Or like I would look at videos and I would like for future selves that I didn't want to be like. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I a slave to like the food? And I get it, because that food makes chemical reactions in your brain. So whatever you're dealing with, whether it's an unhealthy relationship, whether it's unhealthy eating patterns, whether it's body dysmorphia, whether it's freaking addiction, like there's nothing that you can't tell me that first and foremost God can't change, but second of all, you can be a partner in that change. Like I said, He gives you the tools in the toolbox to change. So you need whatever it is. And I work on myself constantly and I still fail. So I'm not saying there's no perfect road or anything, but at the end of the day, you can make a change. You can. You really can. And those little changes that you think are not a big deal, it's not like you have to do 20 things. And sometimes if you have to, you have to. But for me, honestly, like just eliminating processed sugar, I lost 30 pounds. And then walking helped me lose the additional weight. Just two things right there. Like honestly, 2 things. It wasn't even much. I was still tripping, complaining. I still had issues, and I still have issues. But just 2 things that I did. 2 things. It doesn't have to be much. Like you think that you have to go and change everything. Yeah, it comes with the territory. When you start making different choices, you're gonna have different choices all around you. So at the end of the day, but that was one of the biggest things I've ever done, was just eliminating processed sugar, and the weight just started falling off. And this is not even a testimony about the weight, because honestly, I mean, it's not about that. I think it's more about the fact that I took ownership and accountability of the life that I was living, the life that I was modeling for my children, the life that I was modeling for myself. And I said, how can I practice what I preach when I can't even control my cravings? You know? And a lot of people don't want to take that look in the mirror. And whatever it is that you're doing, I know that we have different coping skills. That's why some people are depressed. That's why they drink. Some people, are sad. That's why they eat, or whatever. In my case, I just think it was like a pattern of unhealthy, crappy behavior that I was raised into. And I just thought it was normal for my whole life. And it wasn't. And sometimes you don't change until, you start getting outside the world, like your perspective out of your world, and seeing like, wow, is this what about those other people that have the same patterns as me? What happens to them? They end up getting diabetes, they end up getting strokes, they end up having heart disease, they end up, and there's healthy people that obviously those things happen to also. But just looking at the majority, I said, I want something better for myself. I want to love me. I keep saying I love me, but I don't I'm not showing it. It's like somebody telling you, yeah, I'll talk to you right now. I'll talk to you right now. And then they don't talk to you. It's like you say you care, but you're not here. You're not present. And it's like that's what I was doing, but to myself. I said I cared, but I wasn't present. I was present for everybody else except for me. And that didn't benefit them either, because then how can I be my best self for them if I'm not my best self for me? So even though this video is like very long already, I just really like want you to think about what it is that you want to change in your life. And I'm not even trying to be rude or anything like that, but it's like we need to take some accountability and say, damn, okay, I messed up. Where does it, or sometimes you just need help. Like I need help. In my case, I needed a lot of help. That's why I went straight to God, because God, he's the one, he's the author of creation, so he can give and take away. So he also took away all them dang cravings that I had, so he helped me break that addiction. And it's not even like something that's, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal, because studies show that when you're addicted to food and certain foods, that it does alter your brain chemistry. So and caffeine and things like that. So at the end of the day, it's like, you know what, we got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired of where we're at, so that we can truly want to invest in ourselves. And now I'm still working on a lot of things, but when I look at the progress, I'm like, thank you, Jesus, that I'm not I may not be where I want to be all the way, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. So think about that today. And before you go clock in your job and dedicate 8 hours of that time to that company, think about how many hours are you actually dedicating to yourself? How many hours of that are you dedicating in your personal growth, your personal development, or just rest, So think about that before you start trying to freaking be the best person at work, or being the best wife, or being the best, whatever you're doing. Think about, what are you doing to better yourself? Sometimes you just know you need rest. Like right now, I feel like taking a freaking nap, and I just might, but I wanted to take this time to pour into somebody else. I mean, the people that, maybe doesn't have, long span to listen, then that's fine. But the people that actually took the time to listen to this video, I hope and pray that, just listening to this video is planting a seed in yourself. I care about the next person also, that I want them to grow. So, you know what I mean? Like, we have to help each other out. And hopefully for me, this is helping somebody out, And, I'll do my best and God will do the rest. And that's all I can do. So enjoy the weekend. It is Friday. So make sure that, in those little ingredients of self-help, that you will also pour into yourself by resting, having fun, making laughter happen with whoever you want. But don't forget to invest in yourself. That's the most important thing. God bless, okay?